We still have 3 more years of this guy. There have been wins along the way.
We have a big free speech case. It's Guy Christensen versus OSU, and we sued on behalf of a student who OSU expelled. We argued that it violated his First and 14th Amendment rights, and a judge agreed with us and gave us a preliminary injunction. Your First Amendment free speech rights means that you can do and say things as long as you're not inciting violence.
We have seen here in Ohio a lot of public universities kind of acquiesce and bend the knee, frankly, to the Trump administration and, frankly, to the Ohio State House. I'm very keen on how ICE is going to be used for, frankly, the elections in 2026. The only person who has more influence over these legislators than Donald Trump are you, the voters.
Now, I think it's a real time for us to try and recreate the kind of community that we want to have.
It's hard as we are looking through what has happened and that it's only February 2026. It is hard to keep up. But, there have been wins along the way. Some legal wins, some wins in the court of public opinion, some wins in just the changing narrative around immigration enforcement and what the Trump administration is doing. And that's for good reason. First and foremost, Trump sold a secure border, and what people actually got was blood in the streets. And that is a significant, it cuts you to your core to see that in America. And I think people are responding to that. I know the ACLU of Ohio's had a couple, we've had a couple really good wins on this. I was wondering, can you talk about, some of the wins that we have seen and why, showing up and continuing to do these things actually matter, because they do make a difference.
Yeah. So as a general preface, individual rights are very important. Second, just because your individual rights are important doesn't mean the government's going to respect them. And third, a huge part of what we do at the ACLU, our core mission, is to protect your individual rights from being intruded on and stampled on by the government. We have a big free speech case. It's Guy Christensen versus OSU, and we sued on behalf of a student who OSU expelled for his protected speech. He was not given a hearing, and we argued that it violated his First and 14th Amendment rights, and a judge agreed with us and gave us a preliminary injunction. And again, free speech is so important because not only are we here trying to protect speech generally, but also speech we don't agree with, and
Absolutely.
That is important for conversation and dialogue overall. Because the government doesn't like what we're saying doesn't mean they can come after us, because maybe they won't like what you're saying, but that doesn't mean they can come after you, right? Your First Amendment free speech rights means that you can do and say things as long as you're not inciting violence, right? The government has to respect your right to free speech, even if they disagree with what you're saying.
Now, there's a broader narrative to this win, because we have seen here in Ohio a lot of public universities kind of acquiesce and bend the knee, frankly, to the Trump administration and, frankly, to the Ohio State House, who is really cracking down on institutions and really trying to, make higher ed and colleges and universities teach their preferred version of history, reality, what have you. And so it was a really big win, not only for this individual for having his free speech rights restored and protected, but also for standing up to, Ohio's flagship university, when they are very clearly, trying to do things and serving the Trump agenda in a way that really hurts their overall mission and hurts Ohio's future, because nobody wants to go to a college or a university when you could get expelled for, a video that you post to your personal YouTube channel. It's ridiculous. We still have 3 more years of this guy.
Yeah.
3 more years of this guy. And so, I'm very keen on how ICE is going to be used for, frankly, the elections in 2026. I think we are starting to hear them say the quiet part out loud, with President Trump recently saying we need to nationalize the voting. Republicans need to take over voting in 15 states. Steve Bannon is saying we're going to have ICE at the polls. That's just, it's so far out of bounds from what we would normally think is acceptable. And it just goes to show just how far we have gone in this, to where now is that idea of ICE at polling locations not only, it's not inconceivable, it's kind of probable now. Like, that's how far we've come and how far we need to get back to where that is not normal and that will not happen. The only person who has more influence over these legislators than Donald Trump are you, the voters, people who actually give them their job and can take their job away from them. If we as Ohioans come together and say, we don't like what we're seeing now, we want an Ohio and a America that values community, that wants people to have economic security, that has real public safety, when people are not afraid to call the police for help, when people are not afraid to just walk down the street with their kids, with their family, with their friends. When there is an Ohio that does honor the dignity of every single person, because we are all in this together. And, unfortunately, Ohio, in my opinion, is a long way off from that dream, from that vision, from that reality. But we're not going to get there until we start doing what we need to do to make our elected leaders, our political leaders, create that vision.
With so much that has come undone, so not just our norms, but also literally parts of the federal government that have been dismantled, and we're going to feel the effects of that for years. Now, I think is a real time for us to try and recreate the kind of community that we want to have, with not just people who are more naturally likely to be friends, but also people who are different. I want it to be more natural for it to come up that these are our values, this is what's important, and I think how we have a real opportunity moving forward to make something better together.
Yeah,